Is it possible that Michigan is not being taken serious enough? We're going to talk about that in this video. I am the Maize Madman. Before we get started, hit the like and subscribe button and comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let's get into it.
I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful.
Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, man. And I'm gonna tell him why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always,
I'm upset.
Let's just start with what we know off the break. We know that Michigan is the two-time defending Big Ten champions. We know that the Wolverines have been now to back-to-back college football playoffs. We know that they seem to have gotten over the hurdle that is the other state. We know that Jim Harbaugh is a master tactician and is the father of Ryan Day. Now that all those things are out the way, let's talk about what the Wolverines have been doing particularly well over these last 2.5 seasons now. That is running the football. Starting with Haskins in 2021, the combination of he and Blake Corum ran the football extremely well, especially in big games that they needed to win. You remember tough runs by Haskins against Nebraska and the other state. Blake Corum, of course, was making explosive plays then. He was a different Blake Corum physically, a slimmer, maybe even faster version of himself, but he evolved because the very next year in 22, he became the workhorse back and was in the backfield with now Donovan Edwards, who is the Swiss Army knife style back, and they dominated on the ground as well. Even after Blake Corum went down late in the season against Illinois, Donovan Edwards stepped up in a massive way, in a major way, including and most importantly against the other state in Columbus. They dominate on the ground. So far this season, they haven't dominated in the same fashion that they did in the two previous seasons. However, running the football is still at the top of the list for the Wolverines, and that is played out in this stat by Pro Football Focus, who still says the Wolverines pass blocking is second in the country. In Power 5 rather. Pro Football Focus still says the Wolverines run block at an elite level. They also pass block at an elite level, as that is also top 5 in Power 5. The Wolverines are currently in first place in the Big Ten East and in the Big Ten overall with a 6-0 record, 3-0 in conference. And I know that the detractors will say that the Wolverines haven't played anybody. However, according to Pro Football Focus, in Power 5, Michigan has the 19th best strength of schedule. So even that is a little jaded. In terms of an overall perspective, Michigan is rated number 1 overall at 97.2 in Power 5. In terms of their offense and defense together, their offense is ranked 3rd in Power 5 at 92.4, behind only Miami and Washington, and their defense is also ranked 3rd behind only Alabama and UCLA at 92.6. You put that together, you have the number 1 overall team at 97.2, and that includes special teams. Let's talk about some individual players now. Starting with the most important position on the field, we all know that that's the quarterback, and J.J. McCarthy has been pretty much lights out all year except for a blimp on the schedule against Bowling Green, but it didn't cost Michigan anything in terms of the game or even style points. JJ leads the Big Ten in completion percentage by 12%. That's a massive gap. JJ also is fifth among Big Ten quarterbacks in yards and pass yards, and he is first among Big Ten quarterbacks in average per attempt. He is also second behind only Tagovailoa in touchdowns and first in quarterback rating and QBR. JJ is absolutely dominant and dynamite. He is making incredible throws that people may not even be noticing, like against Nebraska when he rolls out to the left. I think Jim Harbaugh spoke about this. He's running to his left, throws across his body a dart in the back of the end zone to Roman Wilson. These are the types of things that we wanted to see from JJ. It's the progression we wanted to see from last year to now, and he seems to be in total command of the offense and an absolute leader on this football team, whether or not he has a captain or a C on his jersey or not. So JJ McCarthy is absolutely dynamite. Let's talk a little bit about the run game. Now, as I spoke about earlier, Michigan's run game hasn't been as dynamic as it has been over the last couple of seasons. However, Blake Corum is still second in the Big Ten in rush yards. Blake Corum is still doing Blake Corum things on the ground. And amongst all qualified rushers, Blake Corum is still among the top in average per rush. That being said, Khalil Mullings might even be the second best running back on the team so far this year. Obviously not in talent, because Donovan Edwards is a far more talented running back, but in terms of producing, Khalil Mullings is doing just that. Blake Corum also leads not just the Big Ten, but all of college football in rushing touchdowns. So Blake Corum, a guy who was literally on the Heisman, was a Heisman frontrunner before he got injured last year, still rushed for over 1,400 yards a year ago. And he is tied now with his running back coach, Mike Hart, for fourth place on the all-time Michigan rushing touchdown list. I expect him to surpass him this upcoming Saturday against Indiana. The point is, Michigan is a very dangerous team, and we haven't even gotten to Roman Wilson, who is leading Michigan in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. Let's do just that. Roman Wilson is fourth in the Big Ten in receiving yards at 382, and Cornelius Johnson is seventh at 342. So it's not like there's some gap in the sense of only Roman Wilson is catching passes. Now, it seems to be only Roman Wilson is catching touchdowns, as he leads the Big Ten with 8. He is tied for third in all of college football with 8 touchdowns. He has a 17.4 average per catch, which is extremely high. Cornelius Johnson has a 19 yard per catch average, which is also extremely high. They rank actually in the Big Ten 5th and 6th in those categories. The fact that these guys are dominating in the way that they're dominating, and quiet as it's kept, Michigan has the opportunity to have 2 1,000-yard receivers. When can anyone remember the last time or any time Michigan had 2 1,000-yard receivers? It's been a while. So there's that. I'm just saying, I think Michigan is being overlooked nationally. I think we should keep an eye on that. Michigan is clearly a dominant team. They are the favorites, in my opinion, to win the national championship this year. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. After getting some of these numbers, just raw numbers, let's talk about it in the comment section. Till next time, stay angry, my friends. I'm upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be our best season ever. Our ratings, they're about to go through.
All right, now I'ma calm down. Son. I just don't get that all that Maize and that lock and all that puff. I just don't get it, son,
Okay,
for real.
just calm
And how
down.
the